Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Just take a look at this nice little background, baby. And so I ended up getting a bunch of comments in my last video talking about how it looked like I set up shop at my grandmother's house. But you know what? I thought that I'd bedazzle this bitch up a little bit. And do keep in mind, I'm still anxiously awaiting my Labatt Blue sign, so the overall background and the production of my show is going to be aesthetically pleasing. Don Mafia, as you know, training camp has concluded. I was under the impression that it was 14 days. I didn't know that walkthroughs counted, but apparently, according to the Bills, training camp is over, and now it's just simply practice, but that doesn't mean that we don't have some news that we need to cover. We're going to be looking over the Sean McDermott interview. We're going to be looking at the Levi Wallace interview, and of course, we're going to be looking at our newly acquired linebacker, Andre Smith. All of that is going to be going down today in this episode of the Don Mafia Report. Before I dive into that, guys, I need to just give you one more quick reminder. Me and Aaron Williams started our Believe in Bills podcast, I want to say last week. We were super excited with the results and the feedback that we have gotten already. So say that you haven't listened to the first episode, or say that you haven't subscribed to either Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever the hell you listen to podcasts, please do so. We're dropping the second episode on Wednesday, and we couldn't be more excited. Without further ado, let's dive into the news. And so yeah, Don Mafia, news broke, I want to say about an hour or two ago, that the Buffalo Bills ended up signing Andre Smith, which is pretty interesting because we ended up trading for him with, of course, the Carolina Panthers, right? We ended up sending them over a 7th round compensatory pick for 2023, basically 3 years down the road. Say that I was a gambling man, we probably just didn't want to wait for waivers. But then again, it makes you wonder, why exactly is our front office and coaching staff sending out capital like that, regardless of the fact of that it's a 7th round pick 3 years from now. We didn't want to risk losing out on him on waivers, especially a guy who was not a starter for Carolina. I believe he only totaled 5 tackles last year, all of which were going to be on special teams. So this was definitely an interesting pick, in my opinion. Sounds like that we're picking him up exclusively for special teams. I mean, word around the street is that the Bills are really putting a significant focus on special teams this year. I'm pretty sure a fan in the comment section the other day mentioned that when the Bills made their run in the 90s, I'm pretty sure we had the best special teams in the entire league. So really sounds like McBean is really putting a lot of effort right into building up this special teams unit, and I think Andre Smith might be an interesting addition. And so right before we move on, really funny story. We ended up getting the guy that we would have picked in the 7th round in 2018. Say that we never traded for Kelvin Benjamin. Super funny how things like that work out, what this front office has been able to do. Not that there's much that can make up for that Kelvin Benjamin move, but hey, we will take what we can get. And so right after practice today, Levi Wallace sat with the media, and a lot of the questions centralized the fact on how he felt with this upcoming time where the Buffalo Bills are about ready to slash down the 53-man roster. And you know, a lot of the questions were asking him whether or not that he's starting to feel nervous, especially since although that he won the starting job being opposite of Trey White back in 2019, the Bills ended up bringing Josh Norman in, and he basically responded in a fantastic way, saying that the odds have been against him since he started playing football. I mean, he did mention that he didn't make the varsity football team when he was a freshman in high school. I mean, honestly, that's a feat right in and of itself, especially when it comes to varsity football. I'm not really sure where he's from originally. I know he went to Alabama for college, so I'm assuming he must be somewhere in the Southeast. So making a varsity football team as a freshman in the Southeast is a huge feat. But then again, and so was also super slept on while he was at University of Alabama and then went into the NFL as an undrafted free agent. So Wallace says that he is taking advantage of as many reps as possible, and he's not nervous. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, there is no way, shape, or form that Levi Wallace is going to be cut from this team. He is going to make the 53-man roster regardless of the fact if Josh Norman beats him out at CB2. And I believe that's most likely going to happen, but still look for Levi Wallace to be in the depth department. And so, might I add, a great person to add depth. And so, last but not least, the Sean McDermott interview did occur before practice today. And he did mention a couple of new names that were on the injured list. And that just so happened to include Quentin Spain and John Brown, who, quote unquote, had an illness. Calm the down. From what we understand, it's not COVID. Let's hope that they get over it, whatever the hell it was. And then Tyler Croft, he ended up messing up his foot. The severity is unknown. And I mean, honestly, I feel so bad for Tyler Croft because dude, man, can legitimately just not stay healthy. And his injuries always seem to occur during training camp. So let's just hope that it's sore and he comes back ready to go full force once week 1 comes along. Although that I'm seeing Dawson Knox being our go-to guy when it comes to week 1 against the Jets. And so as soon as when the injury report was over, Sean McDermott ended up going into a pretty interesting statement talking about Trent Murphy, right? We can't tell you guys how much that I have heard people be like, yo, Dan, we need to go on ahead and get rid of Trent Murphy. In my opinion, dude man does his job. And yes, we would be able to save some cap space. We would be able to save some money from a business standpoint. But letting go of Trent Murphy really doesn't make a lot of sense, especially since this defensive line, who has apparently been outperforming, exceeding expectations, working as a well-oiled machine, releasing Trent Murphy at this point or trying to trade for him simply just wouldn't make sense. And Sean McDermott seems to be in the exact same mindset. Now, do keep in mind, and so about 3 or 4 days ago, he did say he was strongly considering keeping 2 kickers, and then it was 3 hours later, he decides to slash Steven Hauschka and bring Tyler Bass on as our main kicker. So we really don't know when it comes down to coaches speak, but at the end of the day, it looks like Trent Murphy is going to be on the squad, and I really don't think he's that bad, guys. Give the dude a break. And so really some minor points as well. He was talking about the performance of Reggie Gilliam thus far, was saying that while he was impressing, he did sort of take a shot saying that it's very easy to compete and perform well when your competition is sitting on the sideline. He was pertaining to Patrick DeMarco, who has not played a single snap all training camp and even into practice. And a lot of people are talking about that Gilliam might take over the fullback role. And so especially seeing that DeMarco might not be ready by week 1, and who the hell knows when he will be ready, but that's always a story to keep an eye on. And so then to wrap it up, the media asked McDermott on whether or not that he was thinking about rotating the offensive line, something that the Buffalo Bills were known to do in years past, and thank God he said that he would rather not. He believes that consistency is key, and I would just so happen to agree with him, especially when it comes down to our offensive line. And since we haven't really brought in any significant improvements from last year, we're going to have to rely on the chemistry that the Bills created in 2019. Don Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Y'all, I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me, especially this month. This month has been crazy. This month has been crazy as far as overall subscriber growth, as far as likes on the videos. Like, y'all are the reason that I make these videos. And the more support that you show me, the more you're going to see this beautiful face, baby. Besides that, Don Mafia, thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, smash the out of that like button, and always remember, let's go Buffalo.